Hi Lee, how's it going, man? How you doing? You could do Nightwalker, how's it going, man? Doing my 10 p.m. jog. I work all day. Good for you, man. I know how hard it is to get out there later and later in the day. I don't do jog. I don't do cardio, but going to the gym. Yeah, my general gym timing is like 9 p.m. It's absolutely fucked. Yeah, how's it going, man? I don't have sound on right now because I'm at a sleepover and everyone's sleeping. Give me 10 minutes. No worries. Annoying if that doesn't work. Fuck. Oh, that's so pissy. Ah, that sucks. Alright, whatever. I'll figure that out later. I have an audio port at the top of my computer, but I've never used it before, so I don't know if I plugged it. I don't know if I connected it correctly when I set up the computer, fucking 4 years ago. And if it's not set up, I'm not fiddling around with the motherboard now. It's just fucked. All right. How's everyone doing this fine morning or afternoon for you guys? I was very offended by last stream. I demand 15 chapters as an apology. Why were you offended? What? What did I do? It's gonna be a good day. Woke up feeling alright. Murder by my side. And I woke up high. It's gonna be a good day. One of my favorite reading sites is shutting down. Oh, that sucks. FQ, how's it going, man? How you doing? Dr. Z, how's it going? LNW? What is LNW? Paint my nose and give me hell. Like a herb, but like me and I dress so well. UPENG. Tired, had to finish a bunch of units at work. Waiting to get off work in like 7 minutes. Ah, nice. Light novel world. Oh. How could you even think unhinged as a fellow countryman? It is a violation of my human... Oh, I see. Hey, we were confused, okay? There were a lot of talks of him actually being Romero. And Romero, of course, is Indian, so, you know, it was... I got confused, okay? I'm sorry. Chris, how's it going, man? Oh, light novel world. That sucks. Oh. The island pirates around the world gather. Come by soon. Just give me hell. It so well. Take the herb, act like me. Shit. That number world got me through my reading of the board. Ah, that sucks. Yeah, this is disgusting. I'm doing so bad. Oh, it's EST. That's why, Ernest. Really getting close before I finish EI. Oh, this is so bad. I'm getting absolutely cooked. Copyright? That makes sense. Oh, man. Okay. Give me hell. Her bitch act like me and I dress so well. Okay. O R N E. Light novel is pretty cheap. No one said Father Utrovsky art during the previous stream. No, I don't believe so. I don't think I've seen Father Utrovsky. Okay. Oh my god, I'm getting absolutely cooked today. Jesus. OG. OR. Oh, that was ozone. I wasn't getting that. Okay, double O's, no shot. I have sent. All my dignity that you threw in your trash. I can't make international transactions because of sanctions. I became a pirate out of necessity, not stinginess. What novel is this? Greetings, miserable wretches and Mr. Wiz. Good morning. Adam, how you doing this fine morning? Or afternoon? I don't believe I've seen you here before. Irony in this. Alright, we're gonna get started in 5 minutes. Or whatever. Yeah, I said 5 minutes, not a time. Sorry, I was gonna say or whatever that translates to for you, but that's just 5 minutes. Tad bit. Sketch Paul Root. It's 6 p.m. I've been here when Easy came in last time. Oh, yes. Sorry. How you doing this fine afternoon for you? How's everyone doing? Actually, yeah. How's everyone doing? Tad bit. Root. Okay. Root, leaf, trunk, branch, parts of a tree. Good. Acme, tail, tad, bit. Sketch, tail. I managed to survive another week to see the weekend. It's good news every single week. Yes. We take those small victories when we can get them, right, Dr. Z? I agree. Tail, sketch, may act, paw. Okay. Maybe someone else can help me, because I'm thinking tail and sketch. I'm thinking like trying to find a suspect, right? Like you do a sketch artist, and then like maybe you try to tail them. What happened in the last stream? What happened in the last stream? He was invited by the detective to join like a detective gathering to try to hunt down the serial killer. He defeated Father Utrovsky. Got the key that allowed him to enter any place with basically like a skeleton key, and then Forrest joined her first ever tarot club meeting, and then at the start of this nope, not that, sorry. And at the start of this, Audrey's gonna teach her about the acting method. Yeah, that's about where we currently are. Connections. All right. 2 more minutes. Let me just. Oh God, what is this? Muzzle, burr, gag, pull, go, come. No, hold on. Fur, tail, paw. I'm thinking like parts of a paw. There's no bear. It's bean. Is where's bear? My company pays per diem, so I have to grind in the weekend. To be honest, if I didn't love my job, I'd be dirt poor for now. Paw. My eyes. Okay. Muzzle, maybe. Yes. Oh, let's go. Oh, Devil, how's it going, man? Oh, okay. I did it before I saw your message. Okay, I get credit for that one. But good. Thank you, Devil. Okay. Tad bit. Gag. Sketch. Oh, like comedy skit. I'm so stupid. Wait, what? No, not tad. Act. Sorry. There we go. That was silly. Comedy routine. Thank you. Tad flag may bean. What is this? Go come through. Friends come too. I know she'll. Still 3 correct? Yes, fair enough. Same old you. What is this? Tad flag may bean. I don't know. I took 2. Oh, pull. Alright, look at that. 12 o'clock on the dot. Let's get started. Look at that. We actually got connections today. It's going to be a good day. I'm sorry I'm a little bit later than usual. I normally stream like an hour ago, but I was sleeping till an hour ago. I blew way past my fucking alarm. Jesus. Missed my morning run. Missed helping out with my nephew. Just fucking missed everything really this morning. Jesus. But let's get started on that great note. Audrey was about to apply for a private exchange when she suddenly discovered one thing. The world who was seated at the other end of the long bronze table didn't show any interest in the acting method. He didn't even have the urge to ask about it. Does he already know about it, or did he consult Mr. Fool privately? Audrey muttered to herself. Then, looking at Forrest, she said in a measured tone, in both her choice of words and pronunciation, our attitude towards potions isn't about grasping them, but rather about digesting them. The key to digestion is to act, and the key to acting is the corresponding potion name. Why? Forrest blurted out. After a moment of deliberation, she said, she then added, then how should one act? Audrey recalled Mr. Fool's pose and example, repeating the description of the castle, the guards, the invitation, the disguise, and finally saying, in short, the goal of acting is to reconcile the body, heart, and soul, bypassing the stubborn resistance of the remnant, headstrong psyche of a potion so as to assimilate it and digest it. Yeah, thanks for joining. How you doing today? I do not know. Oh, I'm just gonna call you OG. I don't know what to. I don't know how to pronounce your name. As a fiction writer, Forrest had a strong imagination. After Justice was done with her description, she had already sketched out the corresponding scenes in her mind and had basically understood what the Justice was trying to convey. So that's how you eliminate the remnant psyche influence in the potion and reduce the risk of losing control. The more I think about it, the more I feel this is possible. Sect Master Junior greets you. What am I witnessing? The bewilderment in her mind gradually lessened and the feeling of surprise slowly filled her heart. Finally, she asked for confirmation. Was this taught by Mr. Fool? Yes. If not for Mr. Fool, we might have lost control already. Our continued existence is proof of the acting method's effectiveness, Justice praised. Forrest exhaled and felt her future brighten with hope. Could this be the fortuitous encounter described in all kinds of novels? This feels so good. However, I shouldn't be careless. Mr. Fool might be malicious, an evil god with deep secrets. We are starting 313 today, OG. Immediately, she began to think about an even more important question. How to act as an apprentice. Just from the world alone, apprentice means that one's skills are not mature enough in various aspects. Does that mean that one should still accept guidance and focus on studying? One shouldn't flaunt one's superiority and be arrogant? One has to understand the insignificance of their own strength. Forrest quickly let her thoughts wander and didn't realize the environment for individual communication had been disconnected. At that moment, the son, Derrick, looked around and silently gritted his teeth and said, "I want to know which 7 gods you're talking about and the general situation regarding them." He couldn't help but ask this question, as this had been plaguing him for a long time. Okay. As always, I'll do a quick poll. Old or new? What are we thinking? I'll do a quick poll. Y'all can decide amongst yourselves. I don't, well, I mean, I'm not the one watching it, so. So easily. Oh. Hold on. Oh my god, it's not letting me. What the hell? It's saying that an error has occurred. This sucks.
How could you know, Jada? How could you know?
Oh, no. Okay. So it finally came up. It just took 47 seconds. Interesting. Okay. Where was I? He couldn't. I know that. Audrey almost failed to react at first, but then she quickly figured out that what the son was asking and raised her right hand. At the same time, the hanged man in the world also indicated that they could answer. I gotta stream while I'm in class. I'm sorry. I have other responsibilities too. That's why I try to stream twice, 12 hours apart, to try to give as many people as a chance as possible to try to pop in whenever they have a second. I get it, Bullseye. I know. I get it. I'm sorry. At the same time, the hanged man in the world also indicated that they could answer. What are they doing? Forrest looked on blankly, trying to remember what just happened. At that moment, she remembered the son's question and began ruminating over the implied meaning. He actually doesn't know about the 7 gods? Where does he even come from? Forrest looked at Mr. Sun, who was just a teenager. In the northern continent, other than insensible children, there wasn't anyone who didn't know of the 7 orthodox deities. Even the poor who struggled to survive in tramps were no exception. To them, the occasional free food offered by the cathedrals was so tempting that the workhouse was a flame of despair. People from the southern continent colonies, however, there was no need for him to ask such a simple question. Just find a cathedral and ask a pastor or a priest to preach a sermon, and you'll be able to figure it out. Where does he even live? What a freak! Forrest looked from side to side while mumbling to herself, but just as the hanged man in the world weren't surprised. At that moment, the fog-immersed Klein said that there were 3 people willing to answer. Who do you wish to trade with, and what are you willing to pay? I'll trade with each of them individually. Only then can I obtain the most comprehensive information. Jesus Christ, hey, good for him. It's just for which overlay you like. I think at this point it's pretty much settled, but what you're seeing right now is the new one, and then this used to be my old one. Some different preferences, so I just always like to ask. Well, I don't always. I often forget, but whenever I do, rather. He paused for a moment before requesting, "The reward is that you can ask me a question, the kind that I can answer." "I agree. I'm very interested in the City of Silver," Audrey smiled. "City of Silver? Where the hell is this place? Why haven't I heard of it?" Forrest looked around blankly, completely at a loss as to what they were talking about. Okay, so then we'll end that, and we'll stick to the new one. Ramir's not here, so we don't need to have Fallen Creator on the screen. Fair enough. Lyola, how's it going today? Thanks for popping by. Audrey glanced at her and smiled kindly. "Mr. Sun is neither in the north nor southern continent, nor is he on an island in the ocean. The City of Silver is located outside of our understanding, or you can say he is beyond the limits of our exploratory efforts." Are you kidding me? Forrest thought. I appreciate how nice Audrey's being to Forrest, because one, because she kind of knows her, but two, also because she remembers what it was like to be in here as a nothing. Not even because when she joined, she wasn't even a Beyonder. She was like, I remember what it felt like to just be so out of place. So she's trying to help her as best she can, and I appreciate that. Hey, can you raise your volume a little? You can always lower the volume or something, but I can't extend the limit. Sorry, Nightwalker, do you mean mine, the music, or both? Just so I know. I can do that. I just need to know which one to adjust. Both. Okay. Dope. Yeah. No worries. Give me a second. All right. That should be better. If it's still quiet, let me know. You are quite quiet. Interesting. What the fuck is happening here? Normally I'm very damn loud. Interesting. Okay. Oh wow, I can see that I'm actually very low. What is happening? Much better? Okay, that's good. Whoa. I might have... Shit, this is kind of the problem when I fiddle back and forth between my laptop and the computer. Something with the mic always screws up. I don't know what it is, but something every single time. I don't know what it is. That reminds me, I also gotta change music really quickly. By the way, has anyone played the Oblivion remaster? I'm gonna get it. I'm so interested. I never played Oblivion, so I'm so interested, but I love Skyrim. However, with that thought, based on the sun's performance and the fact that it was impossible that the others were ganging up to cheat her, Forrest quickly accepted Audrey's explanation. How are they cheating you, bro? No one, you're not even involved in this. This secret gathering is even more incredible than I thought. Mr. Fool is more powerful than I thought, Forrest slowly exhaled. Audrey vaguely read her emotions, and for a moment she was tempted to flaunt how the deaths of the Vice Admiral and the Ambassador and Lanavis was the result of the Tarot Club. What a pity. If Forrest were to learn of these three things, she would immediately associate Audrey with justice. I have to keep it a secret. Audrey, even if it's hard on you, you have to keep this a secret. Since she didn't know much about the City of Silver, she didn't know what to ask. Forrest didn't participate in the following transaction, but chose to spectate from the sidelines. As for the Hanged Man and the world, they successively agreed to the Sun's request. The happiest of all was Klein, for this meant that he reaped thrice the rewards. During individual communication, the Fool could hear. Klein obviously didn't have any plans of insulating himself. I kept reading this as insulting for some reason. Son, you sure are simple, he laughed. Oblivion Remake looks good. It just works. That's good. Yeah, I'm gonna download it and play it a little bit today. As there was a lot of information about the seven gods, the Hanged Man, Miss Justice, and the world could only write what they thought was important. After a while, they passed on each of their descriptions to the Sun. Derrick scanned through the information and his eyes stopped on a few lines. In addition to the Lord who created everything, the oldest gods were EBS, Lord of Storm, God of Knowledge and Wisdom. I was surprised that I liked Oblivion more than Skyrim. Whoa! Have you played the original Oblivion Devil, or is this like, or are you just playing the remake or remaster? I think they're calling it. It is a remake, but they're calling it a remaster, which is whatever. I mean, whatever. You do you. Sorry, I feel like my understanding of the gods is very shoddy, so I'm just gonna write this bit down. Sorry. Oldest gods are EBS. When I played it years ago. Oh, I see. Okay. Okay. Apparently, it seems to be decent. Again, Bethesda generally does good work, so generally. So I'm not too worried that it's going to be bad or whatever, but I'll watch a couple of reviews and I'll get it today. I'm going to pirate one game, but I can't choose which one I should get. Maybe I should get this Oblivion in my defense out of necessity, not stinginess. Fair enough. I don't know if it would even be available right away, Dr. Z, because it has to be cracked or whatever, right? Never be ashamed of pirate life? Yeah, I don't think so. I think as soon as sorry, this is super off topic. I'll get back to reading in a second. I think as soon as companies went so digital that even after you purchase the thing, you're not technically, you don't own the thing, you just own the license to own the thing. I think piracy immediately became a lot more morally unambiguous, morally ambiguous. I think like fuck that, no shot. Like, I have games on my PlayStation that I have from like years of PlayStation Plus, but my membership cancels for 1 month, and I lose access to all of them. Are you out of your goddamn mind? No shot. So yeah, I don't like that. Why haven't I heard of any of these? I've never heard of any of these gods. I feel like there's something very important hidden here. Derrick knew that each of the Tarot Club gathering had a time limit, so he hastily ended his review and intended to go back and pray to Mr. Fool in awakening these memories. We all doing it with Lord of the Mysteries? Well, yes, username. I agree. I am doing it with Lord of the Mysteries, granted. But part of it, a big part, at least for me, is that I can't exactly use the official, what is it, web novel or whatever the website to stream it, because my account would get banned very quickly. So I have a good reason, in fairness. You're underestimating us. Our pirate skills have been improving for many years. Oh, fair enough. Hey, if you can get it, fuck yeah. Plus, it's dummy expensive. I don't know about web novel. I remember how expensive Webtoons was. Is it Webtoons? Where do you? I think it's Webtoons for. Yeah, Webtoon. For manhwas. Man, when I was reading, because I was reading a Tower of God. No, not Tower of God. God of High School. That was my first manhwa, and I was reading it, and I was paying for it, and I was like, what the fuck? This is so expensive. Holy shit. It was crazy. Where am I? Well, haven't I heard of any of these? I have never heard of any of these gods. Then the first one to raise a question was Justice. Due to the serial murder, she was interested in the devil sequence, so she imitated Mr. World and asked the appropriate question. Derrick answered with a reverie and added, in the corresponding sequence 7, a Beyonder of the Abyss pathway can effectively interfere with divination and spirit channeling. I put my novel in Discord. Yes, I saw Devil. I'm going to I don't pay whatever. Yes, Devil. I saw. I'm gonna read it today. I didn't have time yesterday, but I should have some time today, so I will definitely check it out, and I will give you my thoughts. Where was I? Oh, Devil Pathway. That's what I wanted to do. Devil Pathway sequence 7. Can it just? Yes. Sequence 7 is a good deal of knowledge. Is the devil can interfere with divinations and spirit channeling. Okay, that makes sense. I missed the light novel. The second question came from the Hanged Man. He seemed to have considered this question for a long time. He looked at Sun and said, I want to know the creation myth of the City of Silver. The omnipotent and omniscient god created everything and entered a state of deep slumber. The giant king Ormir, the dragon of imagination, Ankevold, the elf king, Sonia theorem. Whoa, interesting. Sonia theorem. So that reminds me of the Sonia Sea for some reason. Okay, hold on. I gotta enjoy this month wisely. Wait, why? Alright, bye username. Enjoy this month. Why does this sound like a threat? What is happening? Giant King I already know. Dragon of Imagination I already know. Elf King Sonia Theorem. Vampire Ancestor. Vampire Ancestor Lilith. Devil Monarch Farbauti. Phoenix Ancestor Greggrace. Mutant King Kvastir. Kvastir, why do I know this name? This feels like I know this name from somewhere. Kvastir. Oh, Kvasir. Kvasir, that's a name I know from Norse mythology. I don't know where. I'm too lazy to figure it out right now, but King of Demonic Wolves, Phlegria. Split the remnant powers of authority, becoming lords, and ruled over the spirit world, astral world. They were deities and gods. Farbauti, Lilith, Kvastir, Phlegria. Okay, dope. Alright, sorry about that. I guess it's gonna be a really lore-heavy episode. Or episode, what the fuck? Lore-heavy chapter. Phlegria, Kleiner was listening and noticed a similar word. When he advanced or whenever his condition was unstable, he came into contact with the remnant influences of the indigenous family diary, and he would always hear Hornaces Phlegria. This is an actual word, and I'm struggling so much with its pronunciation. This is crazy. Phlegrea. Okay, it's an Italian word. Klein, who had known for a long time that Hornaces was referring to the mountain range where the ruins of the nations of the Evernight was, but had never known what the word Phlegrea meant. And now, the first time he heard Phlegrea come out of someone else's mouth. King of demonic wolves, an ancient deity. But why was he involved with the Hornaces mountain range? My nose. Okay, so then my guess is different pathways, not all of them, but some of them, come from certain, let's call it rulers, like monarchs, whatever, right? Like we know that the Giant King Oromir has something to do with the combat pathway, I think it is. The Dragon of Imagination has to do with the spectator pathway. Yes, I did. Elf King, I don't know. Vampire Ancestor, I don't know what the fuck that. Devil obviously has to do with the devil pathway. Phoenix Ancestor, I don't fucking know. Mutant King, I don't know. But King of Demonic Wolves, could it be that Phlegrea has something to do with the seer pathway then maybe? Like he's maybe the monarch of that pathway or the god of that pathway? Ancient deities, yeah. Interesting. Client had known for but why? Yes, some of them perished in battle amongst themselves, while others were stripped of their authority after the awakening of the Lord that created everything, the omnipotent and ancient God. The first part is a creation myth, and the second part is about the city of Silra's true history. Aljo wanted to know more, but the son was unwilling, and he could only stop in time and turn his attention to thinking. King of demonic wolves, Phlegrea, had left the stage of history in the second epoch, in the dark epoch, long before the cataclysm. As he pondered, Klein manipulated the world to ask a question. What he wanted to ask was which sequence allowed Beyonders to freely switch between body and spirit, like Miss Sharon. If the son didn't know the answer, he would consider something else. But now he had thought of something more important, everything about the King of Demonic Wolves, Phlegrea. The son looked at Mr. World and said, I don't know much about this ancient deity. He's also known as the Annihilation Demonic Wolf, the Evernight Demonic Wolf. Evernight demonic wolf. Evernight, like the goddess of, like the Evernight goddess. Interesting. The plot thickens. Also known as Evernight demonic wolf. Yeah. By the way, just FYI, so for today's, I'm gonna go for another 2 hours. I'm gonna try to get to 3:19. If we have to end it a little bit sooner, I will. I can't go past 2:30 my time. But yeah, that's my hard stop. The nation of the Evernight at the peak of the Hornaces mountain range believed in the ruler of the Evernight, the mother of sky. Is there some connection between that and the Evernight demonic wolf, Flagrea? The illusory ravings I hear are actually Hornaces Flagrea? Wait, what? The nation of the Evernight? What is the connection between the ancient god, Evernight demonic wolf Flagrea, and the goddess? According to Roselle, sequence 0 is equivalent to a true god, and each sequence can only have one sequence 0. The goddess had inherited the authority from the Evernight demonic wolf. He wasn't the oldest deity, nor was he the eye of the creator as he claimed. The goddess had inherited the authority from the Evernight demonic wolf. Yes, there's circumstantial evidence that don't count as proof. The life school of thought worships the moon, the crimson moon that evolved from the creator's eye, but they don't believe in the Evernight goddess. Is there nothing else? No, matters regarding the demonic King Flagrea is also considered a myth in the City of Silver. He suggested out of embarrassment, Mr. World, you can change to another question. Change the question? You're too honest. I won't stand on ceremony. Your honesty and trustworthiness leave a deep impression on me. I met a Beyonder who was able to freely switch between the body and the spirit. They were also able to direct zombies. Do you know which pathway this belongs to and what sequence it is? Although it was impossible for the son who was located in the Forsaken Land of God and the City of Silver to form a connection with the capital of the Lone Kingdom, Klein was cautious enough to change the pronoun of Miss Sharon from she to he. By the way, he's not a high sequence Beyonder, the world added. If he's not a high sequence Beyonder, then the Phoenix pathway can be eliminated. Phoenix pathway? Bro, I just uploaded an anime. My channel? Onyx Knight, I don't believe I've seen you here before. Thanks for popping by. How you doing? Just remember, the Church of the Evernight Goddess seems to not like people if people chose the seer pathway. Oh, that is true. Thank you, Dr. Z. Yes. After attending so many gatherings, Derrick was very clear that there was a discrepancy between the terms used in the City of Silver and the company. Therefore, Derrick explained without finding it strange, it's the Beyonder pathway that governs death and partly controls the spirit world. Sequence 9 is Corpse Collector. By the way, apparently I have a fucking neighbor who's doing some fucking handyman shit outside or some shit. If you guys can hear him like ticking away or whatever, let me know. I'll close the window. Okay, so the death pathway is also known as the Phoenix pathway. Holy shit. That is cool as fuck. You can't? Perfect. City of Silver, Phoenix. Okay. So it's the death pathway. From the looks of it, Phoenix ancestor Gregarious was death during the ancient time. Wait a minute! This makes so much sense! It's not the death pathway. At the higher sequence, as you get closer and closer to the ancestor or the ancient god, Phoenix. It's a phoenix, which means like Azek, when he dies, he rises from his own ashes. So Azek So maybe it's not that Azek is like immortal, but that he's stuck in this constant form of like living out a life, dying. I don't know if old age or just dying, and then being reborn once he dies again. Oh, interesting. I thought Azek just had an extraordinarily long life. No, maybe he's just in a eternal cycle of death and being reborn like a phoenix. Oh, that's really clever. Oh. From the looks of it, the phoenix ancestor Gregarious was death during the ancient times. Klein sat at the end of the long table and controlled the world, and as he nodded, I understand. Continue. Derrick replied immediately, I can only think of two possibilities. One is a type of a special devil, like I previously said. They can evolve from different species and have their differences. There is a type that can freely switch between body and spirit, but they're rather rare, and they cannot direct zombies. Can they be humans? The world asked. No, not that I know of, the Derrick said. What about the second possibility? Klein's thoughts to Miss Sharon's usual performance in battle. Derrick replied, mutants. Mutants? Isn't that referring to strangers, the world asked? Klein remembered that that Mr. Azek had mentioned the term mutant was a general term for humans that were put under a curse, but due to different curses, they transformed into different races. They were usually the same as humans, but their hearts were always filled with a suppressed, twisted desire. Their desire erupted when they came into contact with certain scenes or objects, turning them into monsters, and then they would succumb to their desire for blood and bloodshed. Every time they unleashed their desire, they would become slightly more merciless and apathetic. Finally, they would lose all their positive feelings that are expected of a human. The most common mutant was the werewolf. Derrick nodded and said, that's right, mutants are obvious monsters that evolve from humans due to negative effects of Beyonder characteristics. It's not a curse, but the negative impact of some Beyonder characteristic. Sitting upright in the thick fog, Klein found this to be different from what Azek had described. Hold on. So, alright, this is also going in the lore section. Hold on. God. Mutants are various... Holy shit. The characteristic which mutants possess happens to form a Beyonder pathway. Therefore, ordinary humans can turn into mutants by consuming their potions. A mutant pathway? Which pathway is this referring to? What's the corresponding sequence 9? In the City of Silver, the corresponding sequence 9 is called Prisoner. Holy shit, she's off the Prisoner pathway? Oh shit. Oh shit, bro. Prisoner sequence held by the Rose School of Thought. Miss Bodyguard. Now, could I write Sharon? Yes, but I'm gonna confuse her with Miss Sharon, so I'm just gonna leave it as Miss Bodyguard. Fuck it. Derrick ignored the first the mind is the prisoner of the body, and the body is the prisoner of the world. This refers to the madness that is restrained and the desire that is oppressed. Prisoner? This pathway is held by the Rose School of Thought. They're famous for their bloody sacrifices and worship of a so-called chain god. Oh, interesting. I'm gonna add that to the secret organizations really quickly. Or, Rose School of Thought. Pathway and are known for their worship of the gods. Okay, dope. Miss Sharon doesn't look like such a cold-blooded, indiscriminate person. Wait a second, Merrick was apparently being pursued by some kind of faction. Were he and Miss Sharon traitors of the Rose School of Thought? Their betrayal was because they didn't want to turn into crazy heretics? Klein speculated as he said, "I'm very satisfied with your answer. Transaction complete." Following that, a few members shared their experiences and news. As for Klein, he ended the tarot gathering just before his spirituality was exhausted. When the area above the grey fog returned to its natural peace state, even the fake world was gone. And then he started to travel back and forth between the real world and the mysterious space, bringing the master key to the ancient palace. After I deduced from Roselle's diary that there's a high probability that there isn't a sequence 0 for the apprentice pathway. I can't be rash. If there is a sequence 1 or 2, they might be able to counterattack effectively across space. But what if there really is a sequence 0? I shouldn't gamble with my life. After Klein recovered, he wrote a divination statement. Its origins. Next, he held the master key in his hand so as to not redirect the moniker It. Leaning back in the chair, he chanted the divination statement and fell asleep. In the grey haze of a shattered world, a bronze lamp with many flickering candles. Around the lamp rack was what seemed to be a secret room, devoid of any external light. There were long tables, black iron pots, glass jars, brown-colored notebooks, and other items. A young man wearing a classic black robe stood in front of the long table, staring at the potion in hand. Ancestors, I am about to embark in the path of extraordinariness. I will definitely reproduce the illustrious glory of the Abraham family, he mumbled to himself, and drank the potion. The muscles on his face contorted in pain. Suddenly he cried out miserably and fell to the ground, squirming and strangling himself. After a few seconds, he tore off his clothes, stripped his skin, and turned into a monster covered in blood. Man, this is some bloodborne shit for sure. His flesh exploded, and each piece of flesh seemed to possess a life of its own as they continued to crawl in every direction, leaving behind the signs of corrosion. In the end, they were unable to leave the secret chamber and gradually calmed down. The specks of light gathered together and combined with a broken finger, forming an ancient and simple-looking brass-colored key. What the fuck? At the same time, Klein saw a silver pocket watch inlaid with diamonds among the tattered clothes. After the dream ended, he opened his eyes and looked forward. He said with a sigh, seriously, he wanted to restore the glory of the Abraham family, but he failed at the first step. It's risky even at sequence 9. Dude, this is like the guy who starts the journey of 1,000 steps, but then on the first step, he was supposed to move with his right foot and moves with his left and then falls into a river and drowns. What the fuck? And this guy didn't even get started, he just died. He says, ancestors, grant me thy strength, and then immediately perished. The ancestors had no strength to give him. Oh god. The Abraham family was a powerful aristocratic family of the Tudor dynasty during the 4th epoch. It was said that they held the Beyonder pathway of the apprentice, but it was very likely that it was incomplete. Oh my fucking god, I'll write this down too. God damn it, everything's gonna be... Abraham family. Dynasty. Or maybe the ancestors wanted him dead. Yeah, they were like, hey, you know what? You are actually such a stain. I don't want you to do shit for us. Just die. Yeah. Bro broke his ankle and got incurable bone cancer on the first step. Oh, God. Klein recalled the scene he had just seen. He tapped his fingers on the edge of the table and muttered to himself. He spoke in a lone language. I can't tell where his accent came from. It was during the last 10 years since it became popular to embed pure diamonds into pocket watches. Man, they're icing out their wrists? These people are dying of everything, and they're like, oh no, but ice on my wrist, baby. Well, not on your wrist because it's a pocket watch, but still. Perhaps I should visit the Harvest Church when I have time and ask Father Utrovsky where he got the key from. Perhaps I can find some clues. Just as Klein was about to leave, the star symbolizing the magician began to swell and contract. Force was requesting a sacrificial ritual. Force usually wouldn't have carried so much cash on her, but she had planned to attend beyond her gathering, so she had left 500 pounds to see if there was anything she wanted to buy. Can I have their problems? Can I have their problems? Sorry, I don't get the... Are you asking, like, what problems they have? Or are you saying, like, you'd much prefer their problems to your own? Who knew that the corresponding gathering had been cancelled because of circumstances, and now she could pay for the apothecary formula and the acting method for a total of £430. You heard me. I don't know what that means, dog. Seeing the screen of light appear and the paper money disappear took Force a few seconds to react. She sincerely thanked Mr. Fool. I shall sell the apothecary formula to Viscount Glane for £300. I can't be too greedy or this would ruin our long-term relationship. As for Miss Audrey, I'll ignore her for the time being. She has hopes of coming into contact with the psychology alchemists and obtaining the corresponding formula directly. If there's really no hope, I'll try purchasing it from the tarot gathering. I'll have to see if the acting method is effective. If it is, then I have to consider how to pray to Mr. Fool. Gio is such a fool. She's always been acting as an arbiter and unknowingly fulfilled the requirements of the acting method. When he received the £430, Klein also received a prayer from Miss Justice. He said that if Mr. Fool's beloved no longer needed cash, she could promise to exchange the £200 for Roselle's diary entries to make sure the Fool was satisfied. I'm satisfied, but I'm only a few dozen pounds short of £1,000. Klein declined Miss Justice's offer. Then he busily helped the son awaken his memories regarding the 7 gods. Bro, he's hearing the ravings of an ancient... Sorry, my lawyer told me not to speak. Then he busily helped the son awaken his memories regarding the 7 gods. After doing all this, Klein returned to the real world in exhaustion. He drew his curtains open and started going through the dossier with the information regarding the serial murders, searching for the animals that might have existed. City of Silver, in a cramped room. Derrick Berg was sitting by his bedside, quietly recalling the information of the 7 gods. The names of the deities that he had never heard of, and the vague ancient myths all indicated that there was a new world completely outside the City of Silver. Is this a piece of land that hasn't been forsaken by the gods? Or perhaps a land protected by the new gods? Derrick sat in the dark, motionlessly. Lightning flashing from time to time outside the window, gathering its intense light. Could this be like a Greek mythology sort of thing, maybe? I don't know. I don't know. I'm thinking like sort of in Greek mythology, like when the new gods came, or like when the gods came rather, they had to defeat the, I think it was the Titans, giants? No, Titans, to rule the world. Is it that sort of thing? Like maybe the new gods sort of defeated the old gods, but then that doesn't make any sense because it was said the primordial god, or the ancient god, or the original god, whatever the fuck, died. So, I don't know. But how did he die? Discovering what happened in the Forsaken Land of the Gods is one of the most interesting parts of the story. I know, I'm so excited! He slowly focused his thoughts on the different authorities that were concentrated in the hands of the 7 gods. And he compared them with ancient gods such as the Dragon of Imagination, Ankevolt. The so-called god of combat is very similar to the giant king Ormir. Hmm. Okay. God of calm. That one obviously I know, but I'm gonna try to write so I have equivalents. Combat equals Ormir. Lord of Storm equals to Elf King. Oh, that makes sense because his name was Sonyathime. Sonyathime referring to probably the Sonya Sea, and that's referring to the sea, obviously, so that makes sense. Evernight Goddess equals Demonic Wolf. Phlegrea. Lilith equals. Oh, sorry. Evernight Goddess equals demonic. Oh, and Lilith. Hybrid. EBS, Earth Mother, and God of Knowledge, and God of Steam don't have corresponding equivalents in the land forsaken by gods. Okay, dope. Romero, how's it going, man? Derrick stood up and planned as he did. The problem he faced was shared by the majority of residents in the City of Silver. When they were being educated with general knowledge, their focus was all on the practical courses such as devil studies, monster classifications, charms, and Beyonder foundations. They were all focused on the knowledge that could be used to deal with monsters in the dark and increase the production of edible plants. As for supplementary studies like myth studies, they didn't often pay much attention. If the history regarding the City of Silver hadn't been able to make the residents more united, raise the sense of honor, or heighten their sense of mission, and how the six-member council was very strict in this regard, Derrick believed that he could at most remember what had happened in the last 2 or 3 decades. Finally out of chemistry. Oh, nice. What's the best way to get? I don't know. If the history regarding the City of Silver hadn't been able to make the residents more united, raise their sense of honor, or heighten their sense of mission, and how the six-member council was very strict in this regard, Derrick believed that he could at most remember what had happened in the last 2 or 3 decades. Carrying the axe of Hurricane, Derrick walked out of his house, following the clean, simple but old and mottled stone road. He reached the twin towers on the north side of the city. One of the spires in the Twin Towers served as the City of Silver's library, an exchange spot where merit points could be exchanged for and daily necessities were distributed. The dome was where the six-member council resided and rumored to contain a mystical item which had sustained the City of Silver for more than 2,000 years, as well as a repository for formulas and ingredients. Entering the spire, Derrick went straight up to the 3rd floor and, according to his recollections, found the shelves where materials regarding mythology and the corresponding ancient books were stored. Just when he was about to take out a book regarding the creation myth, a slender, fair-skinned, good-looking palm rushed and took the book away from him. "Greetings, Elder Lovia." Elder Lovia, this is the shepherd in the six-member council, right? I think I might have something written for her, I don't know. No, I don't. Fuck. The one who had taken the book from him was one of the members of the Sixth Council, Shepherd Lovia. She wore a long black robe embroidered with mysterious patterns. Her silvery gray hair was thick but curled up slightly. Her face was smooth and gorgeous. And fair. Her appearance gorgeous. Wait! Okay, I'm curious. Do we ever get the answer to this, or did I just find a loophole? If a shepherd takes the powers of like a sequence 7 witch or sequence 6 demoness of pleasure, but it's only one of their powers, are they now a woman? Or are they only a woman when they choose to use those powers? What happens? I'm so curious. Could Elder Lovia here have actually be a man but has the powers of a demoness? Nightshade, thanks for popping by. How you doing? Abilities are passives, if you want to use gaming terms. Here do you have the information and guess the answer? Mr. A used... Oh, yes, you're right. Yes, you're right. Thank you. Being a woman isn't an ability, it's a core effect. Okay, they get the powers, not the characteristics. Okay, thank you guys. Damn, I thought I was onto something here, man. Fuck. I thought I had something way cool. He became very beautiful after he exited the dead woman when he tried to break her end. Oh, yes, you're right. Oh, yes. She looked to be in her early 30s, and a pair of light grey eyes seemed to be able to pierce through one's soul. Lovia tersely acknowledged Derrick's greeting and gently nodded her head without saying anything. She silently took the ancient book and left the space between the two bookshelves. What is this bitch? She just took the book. Why are you so mean? Elder Lovia seems to have returned to normal. She's not like before, always switching between different temperaments at random. Sometimes crying, sometimes sneering, sometimes grunting angrily, and sometimes indifferent. Such thoughts subconsciously flashed through Derrick's mind. Suddenly, he felt an explicable sense of fear. It was because Elder Lovia was acting normally. Normal. I thought you were going to ask if a shepherd grazed another shepherd. I assume nothing happens? I assume you can just eat their characteristics to get stronger, I guess, kind of the thing that Dunn was doing, but nothing beyond that, I think. At least I would guess. I don't fucking know. After reading through the entire dossier, Klein found no record of any animals. It was obvious that the original investigation had overlooked this problem. Yes, I have to remember my earliest consideration. I can't rashly perform any of my own investigations without talking about how I don't have the special means or confidence to avoid a devil's intuition towards danger. Just the possibility of me meeting a nighthawk would be very troublesome. My goal is to take an auxiliary role. My job is to analyze the case and suggest conjectures and determine if a clue is authentic. Klein considered what he needed to do. After understanding the abilities of a devil, he temporarily didn't dare to hand over the matter of investigation of whether or not the previous suspects had pets to Stewart. This would have had a high chance of injuring Stewart. It's only the preliminary stages of investigations. Without any direction, it's likely Stewart wouldn't encounter any problems at all. A devil isn't like those bunch of lunatics from the Aurora Order. He wouldn't proactively expose himself. Tomorrow or the day after, Stewart will definitely hand in a report. Perhaps there will be clues that others may not be able to detect. Klein stood up and stuffed his hands into his pocket as he paced around his activity room. That's actually kind of nuts. Now his dilemma was how to get the main investigation body to include animals from under the radar. Said himself, there's no member of the Aurora Order with more than one of these traits. I definitely can't mention it directly, as that would attract the suspicion of others. It would be the same as if I attempted to guide them into the dark. He pulled out a letter and wrote, Dear Mr. Stanton, I thought of a problem. 2 chapters a day? Wait, who? I just got here from it recently. Oh, you're talking about easy reading. Shadow Slave, that's why. Sorry, I was like, okay. Dear Mr. Stanton, I thought of a problem. Previously, when the detectives were in discussion, they all found the murderer's actions skilled without any hint of inexperience. They believed that he couldn't be born with such skill and that he must have had a lot of experience to build up his foundation. Examples of such people can be surgical students from med schools or a butcher. Back then, I thought he might have done something like this. It's a direction for investigation, and it's what I'm paying the most attention to. But after thinking about it over and over, I don't think it's comprehensive enough. Perhaps he didn't rely on killing people to gain experience. Is it possible he practiced with animals? Different kinds of living animals. The number of animals that die in Backland every day is innumerable, and those that disappear in the sewers are also unknown. Therefore, those are very good training targets. This is my... What the fuck is this word? Excuse me? Man, I should have really started a fucking... I should have started another document about every word that I learned from this novel, because, like, I feel like I have a pretty good grasp of the English language, and I feel like at least once a stream, I'm like, I don't fucking know this word.
Inchoate.
Inchoate. Just begun and not so fully formed or developed. Rudimentary. Inchoate. This is my inchoate opinion. I hope to communicate with you. Sherlock Moriarty. Klein didn't directly mention that the murderers might have been an animal that might have turned into a devil. He also used the reason of practice, hoping that Isengard Stanton would take note of the neglected animal world, thereby reminding the official Beyonders responsible for the case. While he was writing, he suddenly felt that that this was also a direction. The reason why the devil hadn't been caught all this time was because he was paying attention to the hunting, because it had been paying attention. Holy shit. The reason why the devil hadn't been caught all this time was because it had been hunting animals most of the time. I get so ahead of myself when I'm reading a sentence, and I just fucking... And the hunting of animals wasn't something worth paying attention to. Well, let's hope it will inspire them. Klein folded the letter, dressed it up to deliver to the mailbox at the end of the street. 15 minutes later, lawyer Jurgen, who saw Detective Sherlock passing by again and again, finally couldn't stop his urge to ask the door and said, "Mr. Moriarty, did you forget your key?" Sort of, Klein smiled. "Why don't you come to my house as a guest? After dinner, you can go back after dark. I know that you private detectives are very good at climbing," Jurgen invited. Seriously? Klein was stunned. It's my honor. After all, lawyer Jurgen's grandmother was the standard of a capable chef. And he could also tease the cat while he was there. There's no way that's the actual case, right? Klein didn't actually forget his key. What the fuck is happening here? Taught me more English than my school. Yeah, dude. This is actually, like, this is so well done. Like, the level of, like, English being written here is, like, really high. Like, generally when you write books or, like, when you read, I don't know if you guys know this, but newspapers are written, I think, at a 6th grade reading level. I think it's 6th grade. What? Yeah, like grade 6 to 8 reading level. This is like a really well, okay, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but this is like a really this is a comparatively high level of English being written and spoken here. So, you know, like, if you're a native English speaker, you'll pick up words and stuff that you're not familiar with. And if you're not a native English speaker and you can push your way through this to read the whole novel, I'm sure it would, like, massively improve your grasp, or at least how like competent you feel in, like, reading. Especially hearing is a whole separate thing, because people's fucking accents and their intonations and their cadence all fucks with that, so it's kind of different. They're like different scale trees, basically. So I don't know how much it would help with that. People still try to shit on the translation. No, like, it's really well done. I'll be honest. Like, you guys know, I'll find errors in translation, like, at least once a stream or so. But like that doesn't take away from the fact, like that's like saying, Shakespeare's books have or Shakespeare's novels or acts or plays have some plot holes. Does that take away from the fact that he's fucking Shakespeare? I don't think so. Not in any, useful sense. So, yeah, I don't think so. When it was completely dark, Klein had his fill, rested for a while at home before leaving Minsk Street with his cane. Like, the people that say, Romeo and Juliet, like, oh, it's so stupid. Like, it's just a story of, like, two kids who killed themselves. La da 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 da. What a stupid play. Okay. Do you think people have been studying this for hundreds of years because it's a bad play? Are you this dense? Like, no shot. Come on. He planned on making another trip to Rose Street on the south side of the bridge and asked Bishop Utravsky about the origins of the Master Key. With the help of the dowsing rod seeking, he successfully arrived at the Harvest Church at the dead of night and snuck in the same route as before. I have a document which words I have learned. Yeah, I should have done that because maybe once every 2 or 3 streams I'll get to a word I'm like, I don't know that word. Not just like I don't know how to pronounce that word. That's a separate issue. That happens basically every stream, maybe even several times a stream. But like once every 2 or 3 streams, I've never seen that word before, and I like to think, not to toot my own horn, I have a pretty good grasp of the English language. Better than most. Better than most like native speakers. And which is why, sorry, story time. When I was at the bank, I work in a relatively small, really Caucasian town. We live in a small town, right? So, and when we moved here, like we were the first, well, not the first, but like there were very few families of color, let's say. So when I was working at the bank, I had this really sweet old lady come up to me. We were chatting for like 10 minutes, just telling me about her grandkids, how they played football, whatever. And then as she was about to leave, she took whatever the fuck, I don't know, she came to, I think I was helping out on the front line or something. Helping out the tellers rather, sorry. And I think I gave her cash or whatever the fuck, or whatever she needed or paid her bills. And like she takes that and she goes, by the way, I just want to say your English is really good. Now I just said thank you because she's a sweet old lady, but like it was like, lady, you understand I speak 3 languages and I speak all of them better than you? Like better than the fact that you speak 1 language, but like it was fine. Like I get it. She didn't mean anything by it. To her it was really to her it was a compliment. I get that. I'm not trying to be facetious, but it was like, Jesus Christ, that's such a wild thing to say. How old are y'all? I'm 22. I'm kind of thankful that my father got me hooked into classical French novels. I was a big fan of Alexandre Dumas, and now so am I. I've never read anything from Dumas. I've heard he's exceptionally good, but when it was complete, where the fuck was I? However, Bishop Utravsky wasn't repenting in the cathedral hall tonight. There were only rows of pews in the silence and gloom. He's resting? Klein felt slightly puzzled as he walked towards the living room at the back of the hall. As he rounded the corners, he saw the tall giant bishop, Utravsky, standing up the basement of the stairs. The heavy stone door situated there was being banged on by someone. Who did he detain in the basement? Klein instantly thought. Bishop Utravsky looked up and saw Klein and said, "Haven't you found your way home yet?" "Do I look like someone who's been lost for so long?" "Father, I'm not lost." "You think the formula is fake? That's impossible." No, it's genuine." At this moment, the basement stone door was thumping again, and someone shouted, "Let me out!" "This is," Klein couldn't help but ask, "a vampire." As soon as he finished, the man in the basement shouted, "What's wrong with being a vampire? Do you think vampires should be locked up in here? Do I have to listen to your nagging in scriptures every day? Bullshit! I'm a noble sanguine, and don't use such vulgar names to describe me, damn it. Let me tell you, I worship the moon, and I absolutely will not convert to a believer of the Earth Mother. Give up, you goddamn priest. Easy, how's it going, man? It was Klein's first time meeting a real vampire, so he couldn't help but ask, Father, where did you catch him? He's the original owner of the Master Key. That makes so much sense. It feels so fitting that a vampire would have a skeleton key. I see the joke of like vampire skeleton too, by the way, but that's funny. It's a good thing that I can divine. Oh no, sorry. Bishop Utrovsky gave Klein an odd look before saying he's the original owner of the Master Key. One day he got lost and entered the cathedral. Klein seriously considered the dilemma of whether he should carry the Master Key with him in the future or not. It's a good thing I can divine, he thought thankfully. It just so happens that he entered a state where he thirsted for blood, and I discovered his abnormality, Bishop Utrovsky added. Bullshit! Don't talk about blood. What I need is the blood of a beautiful young girl, not the blood of an dirty old man like you. The vampire suddenly became enraged. When he craves blood, I will give him some of mine. Klein nodded and looked again. He found that the heavy stone door in the basement was engraved with a sacred emblem of life and many mysterious symbols, forming a complete seal. During the day, when more and more people started praying, it would be impossible for the sounds to even reach the outside. Is there anything I can help you with? Bishop Utrovsky asked. Klein answered frankly, I want to know where the Master Key came from. You'll have to ask him. The vampire suddenly said, Friend, I can answer your question, but the condition is that you rescue me first. I'm not an unk for once? How old are you, Sin? You're like younger than me, right? How old are you, Sin? Sin, you're 23? Oh, okay, so you're like about the same age as me. Well, you're a year older, but still. Yo, Aunt, how did the dinosaurs taste? Why are you like this? Oh, God. He actually named his price. Upon hearing the vampire's request, Klein felt both irritated and amused. He asked the bishop, Father, may I borrow your candle, the one that you used last time? I've forgotten what it's called. Before the bishop could reply, the vampire spoke. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? It's called the Mental Terror Candle. What are you borrowing it for? Father, you're so cooperative. You even knew to ask. I plan to use it to directly inquire the deepest part of this friend's heart. As you know, I'm quite talented in such matters. And I'm very good. Before he could finish his sentence, the vampire said, Bastard, give up on your idea. You'll be cursed if you do this to a noble sanguine. Hey, I'll talk, okay? I'll tell you the origins of the key. Thank you for your cooperation, Klein chuckled. And the friend of that dirty old man naturally isn't a good person. As a sanguine, all I did was go to the hospital to steal some blood bottles to drink. Why did I end up being locked in here and forced to listen to this naggy housefly of Bible of life? Frankly speaking, if you really are who you claim to be and bumped into me, at most I would give you a warning. Unfortunately, you got lost and entered this cathedral. The priest you encountered used to kill people wantonly and enjoyed battle, but now he's pious and repentant. You can only blame your poor luck. However, with the bishop's recovery, he is unlikely to hurt you. At most, he'll keep you by his side. The vampire paused and then said, About a month ago, I went to the hospital in the South Borough to steal some blood and ended up meeting a thief. He originally wanted to enter the hospital's finance department, but ended up lost. He opened the door to the blood bank and ended up being caught with me. Or ended up being caught by me, rather. He was using that master key. He told me that he found it back when he burgled a particular house. He also obtained a pocket watch inlaid with diamonds in the basement. At first, he thought the key would correspond to a room or safe. He made several attempts and found that the key could open all doors. There's no doubt an unimaginable surprise for a thief. After that, he enjoyed numerous successes until I caught him and confiscated the key. Damn, I didn't think the key would make me get lost. It matches the scene with my divination, but there's a curse on the key. And the previous owner was detained because he got lost, and the owner before got caught red-handed because he got lost. Perhaps I should throw it into the space above the grey fog and only take it out when I need it. But that will be a lot more troublesome and cause delays to certain matters. Klein controlled his... Oh, sorry, hold on. I just realized boss music is playing. Fuck.
Close your eyes. Come to me. Feel alright.
Did the thief say where he got it? Are you doubting my intelligence? How could I not ask? He said it was on the south area of the bridge, 48 River Bay Avenue. I was planning on checking it out when I... Damn it! Alright, I'm done answering. Don't disturb me anymore. This guy's an actual NPC, dude. This is like an actual NPC you would run into, like, in Bloodborne, who's stuck in a prison cell or whatever. And then after his dialogue ends, he would go, alright, I'm done talking. Don't bother me anymore. And then he would just repeat that line forever. Klein didn't leave just because he received an answer. Instead, he took out a half-pence copper coin and recited softly, "He's lying. Don't be 1984. That's not how you say that username. It would be, don't be Big Brother." By the way, did you guys know the term Big Brother came from 1984? After repeating it 7 times, Klein's eyes turned dark and he flipped the coin, watching it spin before it landed on the palm of his hand. It was heads, indicating a positive response. In other words, the vampire was lying. The thief's description coincides greatly with what I saw through the divination. So they confirm each other. The vampire must have lied about the exact address. Klein looked at the bishop and said, "He lied. Let me think about the reasons why he lied." It would be very unwise for him to vent his anger and seek revenge on me, who's completely uninvolved. It would also be detrimental to his situation. So I think he's actually using this method to call for help. That address might belong to a companion of his. Father, do you plan on paying a visit? After a few seconds, the vampire laughed and said, I just didn't want to tell you that easily. You threatened me just now, so I lied to take revenge. Isn't that normal? I can hear how forceful you are when trying to calm yourself. Klein smiled. Then what's the real answer? If you continue to lie, I don't mind sending this address to the 3 churches. I'll just say that it has something to do with the recent serial murders. Humans really are vicious. The area south of the bridge, 32 Verdi Street. Klein tossed the coin again and got the result that the vampire wasn't lying. It seems like vampires don't have the ability to interfere with divination. I should confirm it above the grey fog when I'm back. Thank you for your cooperation. As Klein turned around, the vampire suddenly shouted, "Remember that my name is Emil White. Remember that my name is Emil White." And since everyone's been telling me that there are no coincidences, I feel like the fact that he told me his fucking name is going to be important 789 chapters from now or some bullshit. I'll fucking write it down. God damn it. Emlyn Oh, Emlyn? I said Emlyn, no? Is that not what I said? It's like Welsh or something? How am I supposed to pronounce Welsh names? The Welsh people can barely fucking pronounce it.
Emlyn.
Emlyn. Okay, that's fine. I think that's what I said. Emlyn White. Name of the vampire. Did I say Emil? Oh, sorry. I might have fucked that up. Okay, sorry. Emlyn White. Name of vampire stuck in church who possessed skeleton key. Okay, dope. I swear, if I write all this bullshit down and then 400 chapters from now it never comes up again, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. Irish names are where it's at. Neve, yeah, dude. Irish names, Welsh names, they're fucked. I don't know what I feel like just the fact that they fought with the English for so long, they've just lost their fucking minds. They make up names on a whim at this point. What the fuck? What do I have to remember your name? It's not like I'm gonna save you. Without preparation and a home ground advantage, I'm no match for Father Utrovsky. And he has the mystical item to transfuse blood. Could it be that this vampire's companion will offer a bounty and he wishes for me to sell this information? After finding a secluded place, he did a spirit pendulum around his wrist and divined if he should visit 32 Vardy Street at that place. The answer he got that there was some danger, but not too much. Where's the danger? What kind of danger would it be? Klein analyzed the situation, suspecting that the apprentice who died from losing control had turned into a ghost-type monster due to its intense grievance. Furthermore, it was a relatively strong one at that. That's some crazy English names too. There's some crazy English names too. What? Well, yeah, there's like that fucking English city name that's like 80 syllables long or whatever, right? This is a fucking city name. Excuse me? What the fuck is this? No wonder these guys are out of their fucking mind. Jesus. Bartholomew is a crazy name. Good old Bart is catching strays for no reason. That's not right. The thief clearly came out with the master key without encountering any trouble. Could it be the danger is in another secret location in the house? Klein thought for a moment and decided that it would be best for him to only go when he was sufficiently prepared. It prevented him from entering a situation in which he encountered an enemy who he was unable to deal with his present powers. At the very least, I'll have to wait until I buy bullets that can purify wraiths. After doing this, combined with his previous battle with the Dawn Paladin, Klein suddenly felt he should vaguely conclude the first principle of the magician. Never perform unprepared. Doing otherwise would result in a high chance of messing up, Klein added. On Tuesday morning, after... Alright, look at that. We're already like 30 chapters in from where Klein got the magician potion. So only like 90 more to go before he gets to sequence 6, Faceless. I assume. I don't know. Stuart claimed that there's a letter. He pulled out the letter from the newspaper and glanced at the envelope as he returned to the dining room. It's from Stuart. It appears that he has already completed the preliminary investigation. Klein nodded, opened the piece of paper, and sat down as he read it. Stuart claimed that 2 suspects had shown no signs of abnormal behavior. One of them entrenched himself at the grocery store and guarded his wife and children, living a lifeless life. I love the oxymoron, living a lifeless life. While the other was busy with various temporary jobs and working hard to maintain his life. They were not irritable, nor did they have the urge to fight. They also didn't lock themselves up in a room. I love my name. It's just a little long when it comes together with my last name. Any names that have a silent letter should be illegal. Why are you trying to scam me? Does it mean Black Swan Romero? Where am I? At the end of the letter, Stuart lamented the harsh situation in the East Borough and vowed to save enough money to avoid being reduced to staying there when he was old. Thank you for your help. I will share my findings with the rest of you if there are any clues, Klein replied. He didn't want Stuart to delve deeper into the case, or else the devil might detect the danger and kill any latent dangers in advance. Uh, Putting away his pen and paper, Klein picked up a piece of bread that he had already soaked in butter and leisurely spent his breakfast with a cup of black tea and a newspaper. During the process, he felt rather regretful that there were no signs that a Beyonder gathering organized by Mr. Eye of Wisdom would be held. The existence of this devil has seriously affected the lives of Backland Beyonders. I hope Mr. Isengard is able to notice my hint and be fruitful. Yes, he should be recognized by Beyonders, he should be recognized as a Beyonder by the officials. Klein put down his newspaper, picked up his napkin, and wiped his mouth before packing up to leave. I'm so curious why he hasn't done a divination above the gray fog to determine if Isengard is a fucking Beyonder yet. He was to visit the Royal Museum for Emperor Roselle Memorial Exhibition. I mean, I already think I know that he's a Beyonder and which one he's from, but I'd like to confirm. Don't joke like that, Wiz. Romero's highly sensitive to colors. In Empress Borough, the opulent villa of Earl Hall, Audrey was wearing a light lace dress and donned a snow-white fur as she waited for her personal maidservant, Anne, to help her put on a soft hat with pearls and a thin fishnet veil. Beside her, Susie sat there with a bow tie tied around her neck. "My beautiful little princess. Where do you plan on going?" Earl Hall asked. Audrey said with bright eyes, "Father, I plan to attend the Roselle Memorial Exhibition. I can look at the original diary of Emperor Roselle and find a chance to get some from Mr. Fool." Tell your theory about his pathway too easy? Huh? What? Oh, the pathway of Isengard? Is that right? Okay. So, again, my problem with talking to Easy is, like, as I talk to him and then I read up more, I feel like I'm spouting, like, out of my ass, and then Easy's already read up on, Easy's already learned about what I'm talking about, and then he has to pretend there and just be, like, twiddling his thumbs, like, "Oh, yes, perhaps, good theory." It feels like a 4-year-old asking questions to their dad, and like, could it be that the sun is actually a circle? Sure. So my theory is that, yes. So my theory is that Isengard, the detective, where the fuck is his name? I don't know. Whatever. Isengard, the detective, is Mr. Eye of Wisdom from the Beyonder gatherings, because Isengard had this notebook that was shown twice that had a vertical eye on it, and then Mr. Eye of Wisdom had a ring or some shit that also had a vertical eye on it. So I think they're the same person. And then, which if that's true, would confirm that that Isengard is a Beyonder, because Mr. Eye of Wisdom is definitely a Beyonder. Now, I think he is off the... what is it? The reader pathway? What is it? Oh, hold on. Oh, sorry, I gotta control left my notes really quick. Yes. I think he is off the reader pathway, sequence 7, detective. Because it would make sense. It would make sense why he's a great detective. The first time we met him, he was reading in front of Forz and Geo, which would... off the reader pathway, so that would also make sense. That is my theory. I'm sticking to it. Where am I? Earl Hall muttered to himself, "Why are you going today? There will be a lot of people and the scene will be very chaotic. Yes, I'll get someone to coordinate with the Church of the God of Steam and Machinery. After the official exhibition is over, they can open its doors specifically for you and your friends for half a day. That way you can have a quiet and undisturbed tour. If you have anything you wish to look at closely, you can discuss it with them directly. If that's the case, I can get an even better look at the diaries." Thank you, Father. Why the fuck does she say handsome Earl Hall? That's her. Just say Father. What is this? Or Dad. What the fuck? Alright, like 3 more chapters. Alright, I'm gonna have to rush a little bit. I can go for another hour. See, I've just... Westboro, 2 Kings Avenue, Royal Museum. Although it wasn't a weekend, there was a long line at the door when Klein arrived. According to the description of in the newspaper and magazine, he knew that the world's middle class had few ways of entertainment. Other than reading newspapers, reading novels, and listening to opera concerts, playing tennis and squash, enjoying and holding or attending banquets, there were only 3 options: going to the park, going to an exhibit, or going on vacation. Due to Emperor Roselle's influence, annual vacations were already a common phenomenon. Bouncing on it. At 9 o'clock sharp, Klein was wearing a silk top hat, a black cane, and a long double-breasted frock coat, followed the people in front of him and entered the museum. Excuse me? What the fuck is that? Is a hill. Jesus. It's gonna be some, and if you translate that word, it's gonna be like big green hill or some shit. It's gonna be like the most fucking boring bullshit ever. There was a split there. A different guide led a number of visitors down different passages. Klein and nearly 20 people followed a good-looking woman and listened to her introduction of Roselle's life. This was of zero value to Klein, who was half a historian, so he was so bored that he began confirming the location of his wallet. Since his wealth had soared to 952 pounds, just a step away from 1,000, his wallet could no longer hold so much cash, and he could only carry some of it selectively. As for the rest, Klein didn't feel at ease just to leave it at home, so he threw them above the grey fog. He's actually using the grey fog, which is like a class 0 fucking sealed artifact, as a fucking spare bedroom. What is this? Throw it in the bank, bro. What are you throwing it above there for? Ladies and gentlemen, these are the daily necessities of Emperor Roselle. That's his velvet quill. That's a golden glassware that he used to drink his wine. That's the toilet he used. The first toilet in a modern sense. Even a toilet is being exhibited? Then he looked at the toilet with a flushing system behind the glass and saw that it was shimmering with golden light. It seemed to have a layer of gold foil on its surface, and was engraved with an exaggerated artistic pattern. How extravagant. Klein no longer sympathized with Roselle. Translated, it means the summit where Tamate, the man with the big knees, the slider climber of mountains, who traveled about, played his flute to his loved. That's gotta be a fucking joke, right, Kami? There's no fucking shot. That's the name? That's what it means? I feel like you're lying to me. Separated from the toilet by only a glass layer was Roselle's everyday clothing, including cuffs, a shirt with pleats, and so on. It was obvious that the female guide was rather impressed by Intis's dress culture. After the Daily Necessities exhibition, there was a display of the original versions of important documents which Roselle had issued, including the Civil Code and other valuable historic relics. Oh no, my wallet can no longer carry $1 million. This is the problem that, Isekai-ass name? Fuck yeah, dude. Yeah, that's, FQ, that's unironically like a Jeff Bezos level problem. Oh no. I can only carry $900,000 in cash. Any more and my wallet would just explode. Fuck. At that moment, the female guest pointed at the cabinet and said, "This is one of the diaries left behind by Emperor Roselle. It uses his self-created mysterious symbols that have yet to be deciphered. Many historians and archaeologists believe that these notes contain the least known secrets of Emperor Roselle. As a romantic, I have my own guesses. Perhaps those are the symbols he agreed upon with his most beloved woman. They wrote about each other, but were never able to truly be together." You're suited for writing novels, Klein's mouth twitched. He saw, his eyes were turned to a notebook that was spread open. It was, on it were simplified Chinese. Damn it, I'm almost constipated from eating the food here. Are the ladies of Intis so open? Did I hit her on her, or did she hit on me? I just find it odd. It's time to choose a religion. On one side is the Church of the EBS, and on the other is the Church of Craftsmanship. My choice is without a doubt, praise you, God of Machinery. One day, I will make the Church of Craftsmanship change its name to the Church of Machinery. It's indeed very romantic. Romantic constipation. This should be a diary entry written by Emperor Roselle in his early days. His handwriting is even uglier than mine. Of course, he only saw 2 pages that were open and didn't know what else was on it. I wonder how the security measures are. I wonder if there's a chance of sneaking in and flipping through them. Perhaps there are beyonders from the Church of Steam Machinery here. He muttered under his breath as he followed the guide and blended into the tour. The next hall was the gentle Roselle. This is Emperor Roselle's first love letter, his first love poem he crafted. When you are old. Shameless. Yeat's coffin can't be held shut any longer. Wait, what is this? When you are old, Yeats. Oh, William Butler Yeats. I see. Nice. Okay. This is a bracelet he made. This is the original manuscript of his novel. The female guide introduced with an extraordinary adoration. Klein tried his best not to let his expression change. Of course, he also believed that Emperor Roselle, who was an artisan in his beyonder profession, was definitely skilled in craftsmanship. This is the basic education textbook that he improved to educate his children. Each word has its own corresponding picture. It was a little game that he invented for kids, similar to Intis chess, but somehow it didn't become popular. There are toy blocks he invented that were also for children. Isn't this fucking Chinese chess? Furthermore, Lego wants to collect the licensing fees from you, you little shit. Klein is so pissed. Joe is literally just angry because he's like, fuck, these are all ideas I wanted to sell, god damn it. Shit. With a single glance, he noticed that there was a woman who was over 1.7 meters tall standing in front of the display cabinet. The lady had chestnut hair that fell to her waist. She had perfectly proportioned figure. She was neither fat nor thin. The lady wore a lace dress which had the vibes of a young girl, but she wore a black out-of-fashion bonnet and a fishnet veil hung down, concealing her face. She stood in front of the display cabinet and stared at the items inside for a long time without leaving. Can't have shit with Roselle around? Yeah, exactly. He's just there in his mind. He's like, see, Roselle, this is why we can't have nice things, you dick. After passing through a few more exhibition halls, the female said, the next thing you will see is the Emperor Roselle's restored beauty. Of course, it's only a part, restored study. Beauty, what the fuck? Of course, it's only a part of it. As she spoke, Klein and the others entered the exhibition hall as the area before them opened up. It was almost like a library. Lined between them were shelves 2 stories high. There were ladders sitting beneath them and aisles between them leading to a 3-dimensional book park. You can imagine how the owner of this place had once climbed up and climbed down a ladder in order to search for a book that he wanted to read. No, he would definitely send his servants to go pick it out for him. He wouldn't do it himself. Mangoes or watermelon? Mangoes every single time. In the center of the row of bookshelves were desks, chairs, brass lampstands, and the like. They were all protected under the cover of glass that were protected from making contact. With a single glance, Klein found a stack of manuscripts that were yellow in color. The stack of manuscripts wasn't spread out, so he could only see the first page. This is a portable, miniaturized application of the telegraph. Although one can connect with the person holding the same item and exchange information, you can even converse with them differently. This requires better positioning. I think we can boldly cast our sights to the sky. There are no obstructions in the sky, and it would allow for better transmission. You aren't even letting go of a cell phone. At that moment, the guide introduced the stack of manuscripts. I hate mangoes? Dr. Z, you can't say that, man. You can't say that, girl. Mangoes are the best. They are the best fruit that humanity has. Ramiro, do you like Kool-Aid? Oh God. These records, the wonderful Emperor Roselle, these record the wonderful ideas of Emperor Roselle. They record inventions he was unable to turn into reality in time. They record the glory of what our human civilization is capable of. Klein didn't pay any attention to the flattery and instead casually sized up the other things. Suddenly, he noticed a bookmark in his hardcover book on the desk. The exposed part of the bookmark depicted a drawing which was randomly drawn by a child. Emperor Roselle isn't good at drawing. Just as Klein was mocking inwardly, he thought of something. Roselle had once disguised a card of blasphemy as a bookmark and placed it inside a book. Could it be this one? That's right. He mentioned that cards of blasphemy possessed anti-divination and anti-prophecy. Under normal circumstances, there's no way to discover their uniqueness. If it were so easily recognized, the Church of the God of Steam and Machinery would have long taken it away. Klein cast his gaze and began scrutinizing the other books. He discovered that many of them had bookmarks, and all of the bookmarks were of different shapes. He pondered and curiously asked, "Are these all books that Emperor Roselle has read before? Sorry, I meant, are these original books?" The guide nodded softly. Yes, these are items that the Emperor Roselle's study back then. They include, but are not limited to, books, manuscripts, bookmarks, lampstands, ink bottles, but even more were destroyed during several conflicts. Hey, Justin, how's it going, man? We have 2 more. We have 2 more. We're just at the end of this one. Roselle has said in his diary that he was going to put the card of blasphemy in a very valuable book that no one would ever think that the most valuable thing would actually be the obscure bookmark. But which of these books is valuable? He began eliminating the books that recalled the details written in the diary. Glorious Era. Doesn't look like it. History of the Intis Kingdom. Don't think so. Geography of the Northern Kingdom. Maybe, but unlikely. The Improved Principles of Steam Machinery. No. Klein scanned the book one by one, and his eyes suddenly came to one on the first pile of manuscripts he saw. They were recording objects from Earth objects which Roselle had wanted to invent, but lacked the conditions to do so. And there was a bookmark. It was a depiction of Roselle in Royal Emperor clothing. All right. 2 more chapters. Give me 2 seconds, guys. I just need to run to the restroom really quickly. I'll be right back, okay? That is so strange. Okay, sorry about that, everyone. Good lord. Actually, we might be able to get another chapter or so out of it. I don't know if I can, but I can go for about another 50-ish minutes. I doubt I can do 3 chapters in that time, but fuck it, we can try. If we can get to 220 instead of 219, that'd be pretty based. I like round numbers. His manuscripts of plagiarism. No, his manuscripts of creativity should be considered a very valuable book. Could that be the book? Could that bookmark be a card of blasphemy? Klein's heart skipped a beat. He tapped his molar and activated his spirit vision, but he didn't find anything abnormal. He scanned the other bookmarks and got the same answer. That's right. If it were that easy, it wouldn't have remained till today for me. Klein deactivated his spirit vision, and once again, he thought via a method of elimination. He based the details that he had read from Emperor Roselle's diary and the personality the Emperor had shown. All right, I'll try for 220. Sorry, I'll try for 320. I'll push hard for it. I don't know if I can get it in the time frame because I have a hard stop at 2:30 my time, which is in like 50 minutes, 52. So, but fuck it, we'll try. As far as he could tell, since Roselle had said that the book with the card of blasphemy was valuable, it wouldn't be too ordinary, or it wouldn't satisfy his sense of warped humor. To use lots of valuable knowledge to serve as a foil for an unobtrusive bookmark would be a form of teasing the recipient. Thus, books with value but aren't of great value can be ignored. In that case, he looked around trying to make sense of it. In summary, the entire study, the only book that fulfills these conditions is the manuscript of creativity. The others are only ordinary in value. With Roselle's personality, he definitely wouldn't choose them. Yes, Roselle's the kind of person who would claim, "I'll hide the secrets in the most obvious place, but none of you can find it." Of course, there's no way that he could confirm that the bookmark was the disguised card of blasphemy because the books Roselle had, which were of great value, clearly included those in the field of mysticism, and those books were definitely not going to be put on display. Yes, I have to confirm that it's a card of blasphemy before considering if I should take action. But I can't use the date 20th January as a method of elimination. No one knows which bookmark is placed into which book on which day. He muttered to himself, then asked, "Do the books on the shelf have things stuffed between them? For example, a note written by some noble lady to Roselle?" No, there aren't any. The books that contain other items have been taken out and placed here for everyone to see. This is just a restoration of Roselle's study, not the restoration of a particular point in time. There's no need to maintain an immutable state. I understand, but this is disappointing. That's simply great. There's only one bookmark in the entire exhibition hall that requires verification. The difficulty has greatly fallen. As the guide introduced Roselle's favorite books, Klein looked around again, taking in the overall layout. To restore the room, for more than a century ago, there were no gas lamps. The lighting mainly relied on the iron-barred oriel window that were several meters away and the huge crystal chandeliers hanging from the ceiling. As for the brass lamp on the desk, there were no candles installed. It was purely decoration. Looking at the oriel window, Klein saw the window, withered lawn, and straight iron black lamppost. He took note of the location and turned his attention back to the book the female guide was introducing. In his mind, he had begun to analyze the feasibility of the theft. There's one premise. According to Roselle's intentions, the various churches and ancient royal families wouldn't have wished for him to spread the cards of blasphemy and destroy the stable order. Therefore, if I'm an archbishop in charge of handling this matter, I would burn all of Roselle's items. If the card of blasphemy can be destroyed so completely, the outcome will perfectly suit the thoughts of the deities. If the cards of blasphemy are difficult to destroy, then they will impose their abnormality. They will definitely expose their abnormality after the burning. Since Roselle's items are still remain, that means that he could create certain methods to make everyone, including the deities, believe that he had sent out all of Roselle's cards of blasphemy without keeping a single one. Of course, I can't eliminate the possibility that some churches or ancient families might have attempted to use the cards of blasphemy to make up for their incomplete Beyonder pathways. But this possibility is very tiny. This is because it would give Emperor Roselle an opportunity to come up with a united front strategy. There wouldn't be a need for him to go so far as to destroy the order by spreading the cards of blasphemy. In that case, his diary will show a certain level of confidence and the corresponding concern. And he definitely wouldn't have left with pessimism to the point of only thinking of relying on that ancient secret organization. Furthermore, it's been more than 100 years. The Church of God of Steam and Machinery has retained these remains. They must have made numerous supplementary searches. Therefore, no one would believe that the card of blasphemy remains hidden here. Roselle was, he was playing chess while everyone was playing checkers. In other words, the security level of the exhibition wouldn't be too high. Besides, the most important thing is that Backland is currently under siege by the terror caused by the devil serial murderers, and the Beyonders of the three churches must be sweeping the entire area. The amount of manpower that the hive mind can afford to place at this must be extremely limited. Roselle was just a chill guy. Yes, the things most worthy of protection here are Roselle's diary. Many wild Beyonders worship the Emperor greatly. They believe that books written with independently created symbols must contain more profound mysteries. There is a motive to stealing them, and they have the ability to do so. Therefore, the guard's focus will definitely be on that hall. I'll do a divination above the grey fog when I'm back to verify my analysis. However, I have to first test if it's a card of blasphemy, or I'd be taking a certain risk and wasting a lot of effort to get an ordinary bookmark. If that happens, I might as well lie back in my grave. How should I verify it? I can't wait till I infiltrate again, and I can't do so now. I have to find someone to help. I have to be careful. Miss Magician is an apprentice. She's able to go through walls and doors. It's like she possesses a master key, so she's a good candidate, but she's only a sequence 9. This would be far too dangerous a mission for her. Miss Gio, no, she wouldn't be up for this. Let her get a thief to help. No, that won't do. There are Beyonder guards here. The thief would most likely get caught, which would expose the fact that someone's looking into Roselle's bookmark. Miss Sharon? She's powerful enough and her state is suitable for this kind of quest, but the problem is that card of blasphemy is a divine object that can make most Beyonders willing to kill, and I don't trust her enough. Klein thought, analyzing the helpers in mind, he had a candidate, Miss Justice. Is it possible for her to use her wealth and power to touch the bookmark, using her interest as an excuse? There are plenty of opportunities. Furthermore, this method wouldn't alarm anyone. It would be beneficial for me to sneak in and steal it in the future. The more he thought about it, the more he found it feasible. As for the question on how to verify it, the card of blasphemy possessed anti-divination and anti-prophecy characteristics. The only solution he could think of for the time being was an attempt to destroy the bookmark. Doesn't anti-divination and anti-prophecy mean that using a similar method on the object itself hides the card of blasphemy would result in failure or interference? Would that be tantamount to exposing itself? What it really means is that even with the card of blasphemy, divining it would be equivalent to divining an ordinary object. The divination would result in something that equivalent to an ordinary object. In that case, I really can't figure out what password the Emperor set. I can only use a simple and crude method to confirm it. If the card of blasphemy really can be destroyed, then destroying it means I'm temporarily unfaded with it. Yes, with the Emperor's liking, perhaps I can try an activation incantation. So he's basically going to try to divine it, but how is he going to divine it if it just comes out like an ordinary object? It could just be an ordinary object. He once joked in his diary, "My fortune is for the taking, but you'll have to find it yourself. I left everything at the ends of the fog. See, this guy, he's such a dick." The activation incantation could be set to 1 piece in Ancient Hermes. That's not right. That way there would be no one who could obtain anything unless a second transmigrator appeared. Then isn't it in accordance with Roselle's intention to create chaos and destroy the order? So the corresponding word for Pirate King was either in Hermes or Ancient Hermes. This is crazy. Peak recognizes Peak, clearly. What the fuck? Klein slowly confirmed his thoughts, paying more and more attention to the layout above the exhibition hall. Under the guidance of the female guide, they left this restored beauty and entered another exhibition hall. Once everything was done and he was free to move around, he said, "Excuse me, but I would like to know where the bathroom is. Upstairs? No, that's where our office is. If you follow this path to the end before turning left, you'll see it." Using the opportunity, Klein figured out the connection of the bathroom and several large exhibition halls. He sketched out the rough layout in his mind. I sent some art, by the way, not of anything here, just random art. Okay, thank you, username. I'll check it out later. I don't know if I'll have time at the end of today or this stream, because I'm trying to push through 3 chapters when I should only do 2. At noon, he left the Royal Museum without doing anything and returned home. He originally wanted to instruct Miss Justice as the fool, saying that his blessed needed help. But on his second thought, he thought that would ruin his image. As an unfathomable figure, he has to appear calm and collected. He can't always be helping his beloved. At the very least, he can't personally bring up such matters. That's weird. He decided to pass on the image and voice of his blessed plea to Miss Justice. In the process, Mr. Fool didn't say anything. Klein exhaled and drew the curtains and prayed to himself. His regular incantation: "I pray for your help. I pray that someone can help me touch the bookmark in Roselle's manuscript of creativity. Help me inflict a small and unnoticeable damage to it and tell me of its results. While doing so, one can recite the corresponding term for Pirate King in ancient Hermes or Hermes. No matter who helps me, even if there isn't a reaction, I'll pay them £500. This can be deducted from the £5,000 this has yet to be paid. If there's a reaction, I'm willing to pay more." After doing all this, Klein waited for a moment before entering above the grey fog and saw the scene of his prayer displayed on the screen of light. After divining the theft of the bookmark in the Royal Museum involved a certain amount of danger, but nothing too high, he extracted the plea and added more of a mosaic effect to it. This distorted the voice slightly and threw it into the illusory star that symbolized Miss Justice. Dude, Roselle might have created chess in this world, but Klein is really playing chess, man. Sheesh. Hold on, username. Did you send me like 10 things? This is awesome. I appreciate it, man. I'll check it out a little bit later. I sent loads through the day. Thank you. By the way, Devil, I just saw that meme you sent in the Discord, man. That's fucking crazy. You're not that much younger. In the opulent villa of Earl Hall, Audrey was supposed to be practicing her piano at this time, but she remained seated in front of her dressing table, thinking about how to read and memorize Roselle's diary in the evening. Suddenly, her surroundings turned hazy. "I pray that someone can help me touch the bookmark in Roselle's manuscript of diary. Does Mr. Fool know that I'll be visiting the exhibition today after the museum's closed, and that I have the opportunity to touch some things?" She was amazed, but didn't find it odd. With Mr. Fool's stature and ability, knowing of such things is trivial. Normally I send it to server, but I left, so I just send it to DSV, but he's not on, so I'm sending it to you. Yeah, no, I appreciate it, username. All good. No, I appreciate it. I wish you would just join the server, but I know that you have your reasons. I'm not going to push. 5 years is a decent amount of time. Fair. Audrey was about to reply when she heard the Fool say, "You can choose to accept this request or not." She pondered, then said, "Mr. Fool, I can try, but I can't guarantee success." She wasn't really interested in the £500. The reason why she accepted was that she was curious about the special nature of the bookmark left behind by Emperor Roselle, which was so important to the blessed of Mr. Fool that he offered an uncapped price. Never. It's principal? Alright, it's fine. Like I said, it's all good. Mr. Fool not knowing anything. Ooh, Mr. Fool is omniscient. Well, yeah, but it's the bigotry of like low expectations, right? Audrey has not even no, well, no, not quite. That doesn't actually fit in the scenario. But like Audrey has no idea what the capabilities of like a god would be, so she just gives them the most amount of charitability possible, which leads to him growing like stronger and stronger in her mind. Anyway, I was gonna look through Roselle's diary today anyway, so it's convenient. She nodded and amidst the fog, and the fool nodded and said, "Okay." When the illusion was gone, Audrey returned her gaze to the mirror and looked at herself closely, feeling both nervous and excited. I can't let them notice anything unusual. Even if Mr. Fool's Blessed does take action later, I can't become a suspect. It's definitely not okay to touch that bookmark. The moment it's lost, all eyes will be focused on me, so I need to show equal interest in other items. I can't let others notice that my main goal is that bookmark. The entire process has to be fluid, nothing sudden, all reasonable and logical. How should I cause inconspicuous damage? It's just a bookmark. Audrey's eyes swept across the item on her dressing table without focus. Suddenly her gaze fell onto the open jewelry box and focused on a pair of gemstone earrings adorned with fine needles. The corners of her lips curled up, and she said, "With Susie's help, this should be enough." It was 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Backland that hardly ever saw the sun during the current season was already dark, and the gas lamps lit. After the Royal Museum sent off the last batch of ordinary visitors, it received a group of visitors composed of young ladies from a count family, the child of a duke, and a young viscount. As the machinery hive mind knew that some of the aristocratic children were foppish, who frequently caused trouble, the captain of the hive mind, Westboro, Max Livermore, was responsible for guarding the memorial. He had no choice but to disguise himself as a security guard and stay close by to prevent any accidents. Foppish. I've read this before, but I forgot. Concerned with one's clothing in an excessive way. Yes. Hey Moon, how's it going? His hair was neatly combed as he wore a monocle, making his scholarly appearance akin to that of a college professor. The monocle was actually a sealed artifact, 3128. With it, he could see the spiritual body directly, as well as ghosts and shadows. There was no need to fear beyonders, who use these usually difficult to detect entities or to cause chaos or engage in theft. Of course, this sealed artifact had a significant disadvantage. It could attract monsters like wraiths and shadows to its vicinity. If worn for a long time, one's vision would suffer irreversible damage. We're 273. What the fuck are you talking about? We're at 319, dog. In the gloom of Backland, she is like the bright sun. At that moment, Max was looking admirably at the blonde girl with green eyes to his side. Do you say fucking multitasking? All good username. Audrey looked over with great interest at the toilet, which was gold-plated. Is this the first toilet in the modern sense? Yes, I personally believe that this is one of Emperor Roselle's most outstanding contributions to humanity. The sewer works that go with it change the phenomenon of filth all over the street. The guide originally wanted to say feces, but looking at the girl in front of him, he felt that he couldn't lose his elegance. Audrey hesitated and said, "Can I touch it?" Why the fuck would you want to touch a toilet? Can it still be used normally, the Viscount asked. Why are you so curious about this? No matter how old it is, it's still just a toilet. The other children who were on good terms with them all laughed. No, Glaint, you don't understand. This is the glory of human civilization, Audrey smiled. If it wasn't to fulfill the request of Mr. Fool's Blessed, I wouldn't want to do this either. Bro, you can touch so much other stuff. You don't have to touch the toilets. Ew. The guy chimed in. What Miss Hall said is very right. The glory of human civilization isn't only reflected in firearms and other weapons. My lady, I don't know if it can still be used properly, but no one will use it. The guide looked over at Max and received a nod of confirmation. You can touch it, and you may even open the water tank to look at the mechanism structure inside, but please, be careful. Thank you. Audrey watched the security guard open the glass wall. She hurriedly took 2 steps forward, reached out her right hand, which was covered in the white fishnet gloves, and carefully touched the flush button. Then she slowly stepped back and said, "All right, let's keep it at that. I've satiated my curiosity. It can't hurt any further." After constantly reminding herself that the prescribed character was that of a naive and young girl, after some reading, they entered the exhibition hall, where she said, "Can I look through this notebook? We're all interested in the strange symbols. I've heard that the paper would suffer damage by mere contact with air after a certain time, let alone having anyone touch it. It shouldn't be possible, right?" She blinked, making her beautiful gem-like eyes express sincerity. The guide looked at Max Livermore once again, waiting for his reply. The church used a special storage method to keep the paper looking the same, as if it was only produced a few years ago. Furthermore, even without this, we will try our best to fulfill your request. However, we may need to change environments, change our clothes, and go through a strict process. You can flip through, but not too long. Don't use too much strength. Audrey's eyes lit up, making it hard for anyone to shift their gaze away. After sincerely thanking the guide, she, Viscount Glaint, and the other experts had the glass covers removed as they carefully flipped through the notebooks. Audrey tried her best to memorize, but due to the complexity of the symbols, her ability to memorize in this short period of time was rather limited. That should be around 2 pages of content. I wonder if there's any way to make a copy. Her thoughts wandered as she gave her spot to her peers. Ain't fast enough. Stop. What happened? All good. All good. I didn't see it, so it's all fine. It's fine. I appreciate that, Romero. Thank you. After a while, they arrived at the restored study. Audrey kept to her previous behavior and asked questions from time to time. As her eyes lit up, she said, "Can I flip through it? I wish to see the manuscripts of the great inventor." "No problem. Beautiful Miss Hall, Honorable Viscount, you can all look through it. If any of you are a devout believer of the church, you can even apply for a copy." Whoa, that's kind of cool. As a believer of the goddess, Audrey could only respond with faint smiles. It wasn't convenient for her to make a comment. At the same time, she pretended to lift her hair, touch her right ear with her palm, quietly removing the earring. Immediately, when the glass case was pulled, she encased the desk. Audrey stepped forward, holding the manuscript, casually pulled out the bookmark before flipping the page. At that moment, Susie, who had received her hint, suddenly barked in a particular direction. The crowd's attention was immediately attracted in that direction. Audrey lowered her arm and used the earring in her palm to stab the bookmark. While doing so, enchanted the pirate king in her mind, using Hermes, before switching to ancient Hermes. When the sharp needle-like accessory touched the surface of the bookmark, Audrey felt a sense of intense and illusory resistance. The resistance disappeared in a flash. The fine needle punctured a small hole and nearly pierced through it. There really is a reaction. There really is something strange about it. The light in Audrey's eyes glinted without daring to try again. She lifted her hand and placed the bookmark on the desk. She then looked at Susie and told Annie, "Take her to the bathroom." "Yes, m'lady." Annie hurried to take Susie out. Taking this opportunity, Audrey threw the earring in her hand onto the ground. She then tilted her head and said, "Sorry, I dropped my earring." Another maid hurried over, picked up the earring, and helped her put it on. The interlude went by in a flash, and everyone's attention returned to the manuscript. After they were pretty much done, the security guard quickly tucked the bookmark and closed the cover again. Audrey's interest remained as strong as before in the few exhibition halls like before. She didn't show any abnormalities. It was only when she left the museum and returned home did she report to the fool. I did what your blessed asked. It had an abnormal reaction. Alright, okay. Yeah, 30 minutes to get through the last chapter. We can do this. Jesus. Keep reading. Yep. Ooh, man. We're getting faster and faster here. This is crazy. Sorry, I'm just going to change the title really quickly so I know for future references. So that's 8 chapters in 2.5 hours. Look at that. We'd be averaging like 19 minutes a chapter. That's amazing. For 8 chapters? Oh. I am speed. Yes, sir. Ka-chow. An abnormal reaction. From the looks of it, it really is the card of blasphemy. Above the grey fog, Klein, who received the reaction, was delighted at first, but then also exclaimed in surprise, "Isn't she way too efficient? I only trusted her with this afternoon, and it's already done." Furthermore, this is obviously past the closing time of the Royal Museum. A telepathist really also definitely lacks infiltration abilities. Her family's influence is probably greater than I expected. But yeah, I'm definitely done after this. I'm so hungry. Holy fuck. I didn't get, because I woke up so late, I didn't have a chance to eat much. I just had a croissant and then a coffee, and then I just started streaming, so I am starving. Thankfully, the verification didn't produce any strange phenomena. Otherwise, the only thing that would be done is to allow Miss Justice to act innocent and hand the card over to the authorities. And this also means I'm not fated to have this treasure. There's nothing in this world with 100% certainty. Amidst his thoughts, Klein heard Miss Fool ask, "Mr. Fool, what exactly was the secret that lies in the bookmark?" "Well, if your blessed is unwilling to give you that answer, just pretend I didn't ask." "Of course, the secret is that it hides a card of blasphemy." Klein was overjoyed. After thinking about it, he decided to wait until he obtained the card of blasphemy before replying to Miss Justice. Otherwise, she might appear too shocked and act strangely. Klein was in no hurry to return to the real world. He just sat there in a silent, empty palace, thinking about when to act and how to do it. Miss Justice has done some damage to that bookmark, so I wonder if someone would discover it. Otherwise, the bookmark would slowly show signs of abnormality and attract attention. I can't afford to delay or wait. It would be best if I take action tonight. Then all thoughts of ideas churned through his mind as Klein came to a decision. Then, on the basis of the morning of observation, he conjured the layout of the Royal Museum's first floor and the general conditions surrounding it. Fuck, sorry, I gotta change my music. It's boss music again. Are you guys okay if we check out art at the start of next stream and not at the end of this one? Because I have to go help out with some stuff. And also I'm fucking starving. So is it okay if we just do art at the start of the afternoon stream? Is that okay with you guys? Then he made another divination to confirm the degree of danger. After seeing that nothing had changed, he returned to the real world and began making all sorts of preparations. What Klein originally wanted to do was draw the pattern in his memory. Should there be a bunch more, probably? That sounds good. Forge a similar bookmark, replace it with the one after he had snuck in while responding to himself. He wanted to ensure that no one noticed or know for a long time that the bookmark had been stolen. By the time it was discovered, it would be too late for others to trace the incident back to him. However, after much deliberation, he felt that this wasn't good. As long as the fake bookmark was discovered, the most suspicious person would be Miss Justice, who touched the original bookmark today. I can't put her at risk for the sake of treasure. She helped me. Klein figured out how to keep Miss Justice from being suspected. What a pity. Remember... His plan was to not only steal the bookmark, but also steal the surrounding items, including some of the lighter books. After some preparation, Klein took out his pocket watch and opened it. He waited until after 9. He wanted to act before midnight. If it were too early, people would still be living around and wouldn't have started sleeping. That wouldn't satisfy his requirement for taking action. If it were too late, there would be no pedestrians on the street. Walking alone in the street would make him easily suspected. And during this period of time, the whole of Backland was under tight curfews due to the murders. This was beneficial to Klein's operation, but also a huge advantage. The needle kept ticking as the night deepened, and the crimson moon appeared as if it was finally past 9. Tease here and there. Yeah, you're good, Moon. You're good. Again, I'm much more liberal with what's I'm much more conservative with what's a spoiler than like Romero and Miloshar. I think Nightwalker and Amnesiac are a little bit more liberal too, and then yeah, so it's all good. We're trying to find like a good balance for it. I don't know what that looks like exactly, because again, I can't determine what a spoiler is, because I don't fucking know, right? So we're trying to find a good balance for it. You're okay. By the way, today I watched the video from Easy's channel, and his reaction to pregnancy is just hilarious. The ending of the first volume has completely rewired his brain. And then, yeah, exactly. And then Devil is just a chill mod, exactly. Devil doesn't even show up on that XY thing. I just realized I'm 2 minutes behind on stream. Hold on. Putting the master key and other items in his pocket, he took his cane and went to the East Borough to change his attire. Then he rented a carriage several times until he reached a place quite far from the King Avenue. By then, an hour 40 had already passed. His initial plan was nothing like this. He wanted to summon himself, respond to himself, become a spirit body, and rely on his extremely fast speed to cross the distance from Sherwood Borough to the West Borough, infiltrating the Royal Museum. But he eventually abandoned this because of the high risks. Backland had more than one high-sequence beyonder. In a situation where serial killers caused everyone to panic, yet remained unsolved for a long time, there might be high-sequence beyonders who are consciously using their powers or sealed artifacts to monitor areas. The distance from the Sherwood Borough to the West Borough was neither too long nor too short. The probability of being discovered was substantial if he flew like this. This cannot be completely written off just because the divination results say the risk isn't high. There's an existence of certain danger. Because the divination doesn't give a direct answer, but a revelation, that needs to be interpreted. In other words, the result of the risk isn't high, but there's a certain risk is built on the premise that I make relatively good choices. Even I consider... Okay. Okay, no worries. Yeah, no, again, that's fine. I'm just saying. Like, I'm trying to find a good balance, because, like, when, what was it? I can't remember, but Romero said, like, oh, finding out when a volume ends is like a spoiler. And I said, no, I don't think so. I think we'll leave that. Like, if someone wants to tell me that volume 2 ends at, like, 470 or some shit, yeah, cool, you can tell me that. I don't have any issues, no problem. Right? Or if, like, at Easy's chat, because he forgot the name of Volume 2, no one just told him, even though that is known, because that's in the author notes and whatever, right? So, again, like, that's different. That's okay. Everyone will have different rules and interpretations for it. That's totally fine. I'm just trying to find what feels like, hey, I don't want to be spoiled for anything important, but I also don't want people to feel like they can't talk about stuff that they think is cool. So, trying to find, like, a good balance for it. We edited his author's notes. Oh my god. Why the fuck are you guys this CCP? What is this? Romero would be like, no, you can't read Reverend Insanity, okay? It would affect your mental state too much. Yeah, it's like, okay, damn, bro. um, um, Therefore, to be careful, Klein modified his original plan. 2 Kings Avenue, the Royal Museum. There were 4 security guards standing on top of the polygonal roof. Dressed in thick robes, they were enduring the cold of the autumn night, as though they carefully monitored their respective directions. Once anyone approached the museum, even if they were hidden by trees or shadows, it would be difficult to hide from their eyes. From this arrangement alone, it could be seen that the security company that had been employed was very professional. There was still a half hour before our shift ends. The security guard looked down at his companions who were patrolling the museum. The remaining personnel were divided into 4 groups. They patrolled various exhibition halls and intervals according to different routes. In the showroom where Roselle's diary was kept, the Hive Mind Squad captain, Livermore, was wearing a monocle that allowed him to directly see wraiths, shadows, and other spirit monsters. He carried a lantern that went back and forth to check on the area. Occasionally, he would head to other halls to check on the situation. Bob, you're trying to overthrow Stalin, but your roommate is a... He does think that, his 2 subordinates remained in the small hall next to Roselle's diary. However, there was an additional item on the glass display case. It was a collection of brightly colored blocks that had been placed together in a miniature layout of the museum's first floor. This was also a sealed artifact. As long as those blocks were placed into the shape of the corresponding building, they would be able to establish a connection with the real building. If anyone intruded, its surface would react immediately by shrinking. Of course, there were quite a few limitations. The distance couldn't be too far, and it wouldn't work if the number of blocks if the number of blocks it had wasn't enough to piece together the building. Without external help, it was almost impossible for people or items to leave. Captain, do you really think someone would steal this notebook? I can't get it. I can't comprehend it at all. Max smiled and said, some people adore Roselle with a zeal. So it's not something you can understand. Sealed artifact Lego blocks, unironically? Max smiled and said, some of them believe that they can crack it and only need some information for reference. Some of them believe that the symbols contain mysterious powers. As long as they can find the correct combination, they will gain beyond our powers. In previous exhibitions, we would capture some criminals from time to time. So that's why we didn't hide the notebook away and place them in sealed areas. We're waiting for people to surrender themselves? Who wouldn't want free, meritorious deeds? Jesus Christ, this is a fucking... So how is Klein just gonna go through this? What? 18 King Avenue, outside of a building next to the Cross Junction. Klein followed the shadow and shaded area, using the master key from time to time to walk in a straight line before finally arriving here. He took out a plain brass key, pointed at the kitchen door, and turned silently. An imperceptible rippling happened as Klein entered the room. All the way through, he saw doors and walls. Without disturbing anyone, he found a storage room. This master key is really helpful, but both of its previous owners lost themselves and entered dangerous positions. It makes me afraid of constantly carrying it. Klein sighed as he put away the brass key, with the room beside him being the servants' sleeping quarters. He took out the holy powder and released his spirituality to seal off the storage room, making any commotion from within impossible to leak out. Klein doesn't want to steal the notebook. Yeah, but isn't the captain staying in that same room with where the bookmark is? Then he took out a candle and placed it on a crate in front of him. He snapped his finger and produced a light flame from his spirituality. After the candle wick was lit, he summoned himself using ritualistic magic and responded to himself above the grey fog. No, not the same room? Oh, he's in the room with the manuscripts, not the study room. Oh, I see. Thank you. So Klein has a decent chance of being okay then. Okay, never mind. I thought he was. I thought that guy was standing next to the book for a different, protecting someone else, but okay, protecting something else. But okay, now his chances are much better than I expect. I thought he was just fucked. Less than a minute later, Klein was floating in the room, facing his body, whose eyes had lost their luster. After familiarizing himself with his feeling, he picked up Azek's copper whistle to stabilize his spirit body and make it stronger. It caused a chilly wind to swirl in the room. At the same time, he used this powder to slightly change the appearance of his illusory spirit body, causing it to appear as if it was a layer of paint on its face. After doing this, Klein took a common matchbox and randomly bought it. Sorry. Klein took out a common matches he bought off the street, cut out a transparent door on the wall, and said, "Action time." As you guys can tell, I'm very hungry. I'm fucking flustering over my words here. Jesus. He silently encouraged himself like a real ghost. He passed through the residential building one by one and successfully arrived outside the Royal Museum. There was no need to activate his spirit vision. He could clearly see every personnel, their auras, and emotions. Finding the withered lawn and the iron-black lamppost that faced the hall window, Klein didn't swagger over just because ordinary people couldn't see him. Instead, he followed the shadows and took an elusive route. He passed through the sculpted tree and obstacles before cautiously arriving at his destination. You hungry for Lord of the Mysteries content? Yep. Hey, I'm reading like, what, 70 chapters a week at this point? Like some crazy fucking number. I think I'm doing pretty good. He stuck close to the wall as he couldn't guarantee that the security personnel didn't comprise of a member of the hive mind. At this moment, the 4 security guards on the rooftops who were carefully inspecting everything were like blind people. They failed to discover anything. Klein didn't enter the exhibition hall directly because his spiritual perception and intuition told him that the museum floor was shrouded in a mysterious power. It also had to do with how he couldn't confirm if there were Beyonders inside. He followed his plan and circled to another area, to the washroom that was close to the exhibition hall that housed Roselle's diary. Then he threw a box of matches that he had brought with him through the vent. Next, he blew up and entered the 2nd floor. Interesting. Okay. Alright, look at that. We got to 3:20. What good timing. 2:20? 2.5 hours for 9 chapters? That's kind of impressive. 9 or 8, actually. 8, I think. Oh, no. Yes, 8. 8, yeah. That's not bad. All right. Thank you, everyone, for if you managed to stick all the way to the end. I appreciate all of you. I hope to see you again for the afternoon stream in like 8 hours time. 9 hours time, rather, sorry. If any of you are interested and you're currently in the Discord, I might consider joining. I just try to give you guys heads up for when I'm going live, and I ask stupid questions about Lord of the Mysteries. The link is in the description if you're interested. Hope everyone has a great rest of their day or night, and I hope to see you again later. Thank you so much.